everybody. Welcome to the TRU Sportshow here on the Varsity Sports Network. Your co-host, Bobby Latmore, joined by the host, Baylen Trujillo. Baylen, how's it going this week?
Man, it's great. You know, it's a busy week with the Super Bowl, everything that's happening in Tampa right now. Other than that, you know, everything's going pretty smooth with trainings and camps and stuff like that. Things are happening here in Orlando. But yeah, man, it's been a great week of football. It's sad that it ends and we got to wait another, 5 to 6 months before we see another game of action. But man, what a great week it's been.
Hey, tell me a little bit about your camps going on this week and what you got coming up pretty soon.
So I had a Super Bowl camp that happened yesterday out in the Gainesville, Ocala area with one of my partners, Rob Delfino. He's the owner of Fours Up Passing Academy. And so I went up there with Jeff Higgins, who's now the head coach at Toho. We do camps. They coach under my camp with the Advanced QB camp where we travel across the country. So we kind of, I gave back a little bit yesterday and went up there to Ocala, had a great workout with about 20 different quarterbacks all across the city of Ocala and Gainesville. And it was a great turnout. And just confirmed my next camp will be March 13th out at Central Florida Christian Academy. It's another big Advanced QB camp. We'll hopefully have over 90 quarterbacks on site. So I'm excited about that. That's the day before the Elite 11, which is March 14th, which I'll be also coaching in. I'm very excited about that. That'll be at Lake Howell High School on Sunday, March 14th during the spring break time, which is also my camp, which will be the day before. So there's a lot of things happening right now in the next couple months and a half, and really excited about what's happening in the Central Florida area where it comes to the quarterback position.
Now, we're going to talk a little bit about this towards the end of the show, but I just want to bring up, what was your prediction last week for the Super Bowl?
I was wrong. I definitely. Hey, I'm a quarterback, and I know, again, no one likes to bet against Tom Brady, who is the best player to ever play the position,
wow.
in my opinion. Could be an argument, but he's definitely certified that last night. But I thought Patrick Mahomes, the way that they were playing, they beat him in the regular season in a dominating fashion, even though the score was kind of close. Tom Brady had come back, but they still ended up losing to the Chiefs. I still thought that in a big stage like that, Patrick Mahomes was going to pull through in an offensive explosion. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's Tom Brady, and what an amazing one season it took. I mean, it just shows you right there with a couple different pieces and a quarterback. The Buccaneers went from a nobody to now Super Bowl champ in literally less than 365 days. So all thanks to Tom Brady, who is the best quarterback to ever play the game.
Well, no argument there. As much as we our Dolphin fans down here when he was in New England, we didn't like him. We didn't like him very much. But I'll tell you what, he's proven time and time again he is the best player to ever play that position in the NFL.
Well, as a Dolphins fan, though, we did own his number several times. And I think that was the one team he struggled with. So yeah, I'll take pride.
We were, but at the final end, he laughed at the end of the year with those 7 Super Bowls now. So he can't. You can't deny him not being the best ever played that game. For this show coming up here today, Baylen, we got some good stuff here tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about some of your quarterbacks that you trained in the past that actually got signed this last week.
Yep, that's what it's all about, man. At the end of the day, when I train, I want all those kids to be prepared enough to get to that next level and live out the dream that I was able to live, playing college football and hopefully professionally. But at the end of the day, it's all about the kids, and if I'm able to use the networking tools that I have by reaching out to colleges or even college coaches reaching out to me and giving these kids opportunities, I mean, that's the best thing about the whole entire process when you talk about the quarterbacks that train under me. So I take pride in that, and I'm excited to talk a little bit about 4 different quarterbacks that had a great signing day this past week, and you'll get to know a little bit about them and my analysis on each one of them and their playing careers as well in high school. So I'm excited about that. And then later on, we're going to listen to Casey St. John, which was my first ever quarterback training later on in the show. It'll be a great segment. You're going to hear a little bit about him and his experiences with my trainings as well as what he's doing at Boone High School right now. And then we'll finish off with some sports talk. But, man, I'm excited for a great show and to talk about some quarterbacks.
Hey, it's all coming up here on the TRU Sports Show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this here on the Varsity Sports Network. Welcome back, everybody, here to the Varsity Sports Network and the TRU Sports Show with Baylen Trujillo. I'm your co-host, Bobby Latmore. And Baylen, We talked before the break about 4 quarterbacks that you trained that you're very proud of this last week, signing a college scholarship. One of them is Cody Morrow. I mean, that's got to be special for you.
Yeah, Cody Morrow is the first quarterback we're going to talk about who signed this past week to college. He signed to Kaiser University. They're a top 10 NAIA program in the country. What a special talent he is. He means the world to me, just like his family. What a crazy journey this kid's been through. Had national exposure at an early age, winning MVPs at big-time camps, most notably football hotbed Future 4, along with Michigan quarterback J.J. McCarthy. He went to several championships in youth football under his father, Scott Morrell, with the Winter Park Cats. He also won my 2019 Thanksgiving Advanced QB Camp MVP overall. That was with Jeff Higgins and Kevin Olson, and we all had agreed that he literally shined in front of 70 quarterbacks and took over the overall MVP at an emotional segment there where I gave him the award. It was a pretty touching moment knowing the things that he's been through his whole life and the adversity he's hit. He started his high school career at Dr. Phillips, where he was in a 3-quarterback rotation on JV as a freshman. He ended up transferring to Oak Ridge High School in the spring of his freshman year under head coach Clint Johnson, where I was actually his quarterback coach when he had transferred to Oak Ridge. I think that played a part in his decision-making, but, I'm all about the kids and wherever they want to go, and he decided to come to Oak Ridge, which is cool. I got to coach him a little bit as a coach, not just a trainer. Then in the summer going to his sophomore year, Toho had opened up as a new school out in the Lake Nona area, and his dad accepted the wide receiver and offensive coordinator job, so Cody Morrow followed his dad at Toho, but unfortunately, right before the season started, he blew out his elbow in practice, so he had to sit out the entire sophomore season. It was a sad situation, but he ended up coming back stronger and healthier, and through trainings and stuff consistently, he transferred to Lake Nona High School. Going to his junior year, he sat behind the number 1 passer in 8A, and Connor Johnson, who's now at Southeastern, another kid I trained, but got to learn under him in the system at Lake Nona, which is a high-powered offense offensively. And through that learning experience, played a lot on JV, did really well, tore it up, only lost 1 game, ended up getting moved up to varsity at the end of his junior year, and then going into his senior year this past year, did phenomenal. He had a lot of game action. His best games were against some tough opponents. Most notably Powerhouse 5A Jones High School, where he threw the game's only touchdown for the Lions, and also finished the season in a blowout win over East River, got the rivalry back in Lake Nona. So that was a really cool experience for him. They ended up losing to the number 1 team in 8A in the playoffs by 3 points, 9-6. So that's how his career ended. Got invited to the Senior Bowl All-Star game. So, and then through that experience, man, and helping him with recruiting, actually the head coach of Kaiser University on a random night sent me a text message and said, "Hey man, I'm looking for a quarterback. I need one ASAP. I'm trusting you." And I gave him one name and one name only. I said, "Cody Morrow, that's your guy." And sure enough, we went on a visit, and he committed on the spot, got an offer, and that's where he signed to. So I'm so proud of Cody Morrow and getting to live the dream of playing college football. He's worked so hard as a kid. His story kind of reminds me of myself with how hard his dad is on him. But at the end of the day, me, his dad, and his family want the best for him and want him to be the best. So Cody Morrow is our first quarterback we're going to talk about who signed this past week. Again, he signed to Kaiser University in West Palm Beach, who's a top 10 program in the NAIA division in college football.
Baylen, what a great story. That shows just how much you care about what's going on with the kids that you train, because you say it yourself, the kids come first, and what a great opportunity for them to come underneath you and you train them, but also give them an opportunity to play at the next level as well. Next guy we're going to talk about, Tyson Robins. That's a name that makes you smile a little bit, as you can see right there. He had a really good signing this past week as well. Yeah, he's a special talent. He actually started his career as most known for his basketball ability. He was a basketball player that happened to play football and decided to play the most important position on the field, the quarterback position. But he split time as a starter as a sophomore, but took over the starting role as a junior, where he finished as the number 1 passer in 5A in the class of 5A his junior year, leading Jones to its first ever state championship against Miami Northwestern in 2019. He earned the starting job as a senior over a highly recruited quarterback transfer from West Orange, Julian Calvez. He ended up taking over the reins his senior year and had a phenomenal year, going all the way to state quarterfinals, losing to Tampa Jesuit in a heartbreaker. He led the team all the way to a national ranking, number 16 in the country. So he was a part of that.
overall, Tyson has a big frame with a strong arm. It can make all the hard throws look very easy with his arm talent. He moves well inside the pocket and is a true pocket passer with a quick release. He works well in a spread offense. He just recently signed with Bethune-Cookman University Division I and HBCU, which is well known. So he's going to stay close to home, which I get to go see him play several games. I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully he earns the starting job as a freshman, if not a sophomore. I think his ability to do really well in the college level. He finished his career with 3,013 passing yards, 34 touchdowns, and only 10 interceptions. What a remarkable career at Jones High School. Again, has probably every record as a quarterback there. Elijah Williams was my head coach. He got to play under him, so he got to see some of the success as a quarterback like I did, being under his offense and his leadership. So Tyson Robins, again, special talent. We're going to miss seeing him on Friday nights. They beat teams like Apopka consistently, also blew out a good back-to-back 7A state runner-up in Edgewater this year on VSN Network, which was a great showing. Again, Tyson Robins, special talent, and I can't wait to see what he does. I've been training him for the past 4 months, and I'm really excited to see him become polished and move on to that next level.
Awesome. Great kid, too. We got to meet him during that VSN game, and what a great kid, great family. So we wish the best of Tyson on his endeavors going to college. Next quarterback that you have up right now is Junior Maritovic. Good quarterback, good place where he's going, a good fit in college where he's going to be going to college, too.
Yeah, I'm so proud of him. I mean, what a journey as well. Him and his mom, they're all in with football. And I got to see that, coaching him as a quarterback coach when he transferred to Oak Ridge in 2018, and getting to train him when he transferred over here and getting to see him outside of just seeing him on Friday nights. I mean, what a special talent he is. And I knew early that he had the ability to go to the Division I level, and now getting the opportunity to sign with Florida A&M, which is also an HBCU. You know, they're known for having diversity at the quarterback position, and it almost looks like he's identical to the guy that just left to the NFL. If you look at, FAMU in the past, they've won several consecutive conference championships, and they had a diverse quarterback there, and he literally looks just like Junior. So Junior hopefully steps up into that role next year and takes over the reins and hopefully becomes a 3 to 4 year starter for FAMU. So that's another in-state quarterback at the Division I level. I've been training him for 2 years now. He started his high school career at Olympia High School, and then just mentioned he transferred to Oak Ridge in 2018. Ended up taking over the reins at quarterback on varsity after Malik Davis, a starter here at Oak Ridge, got hurt in summer camp. So then he took over, had a great sophomore season learning, and then junior season had a great year at Oak Ridge and decided to take his talents to Wekiva High School his senior year. He finished his career at Wekiva with 1,593 yards, 19 touchdowns, and only 9 interceptions. He beat teams like Apopka, which is their rival, as well as Lakeland, which is a powerhouse. So he's got notable wins. He also was invited to the 2020 Cure Bowl Classic All-Star Game, where he put on a great performance and earned several scholarships after that. And then now he's signing to FAMU, a great talent. Overall, Junior has great size at 6'3", with a beautiful arm, makes very hard throws look easy as well. He can move in and out of the pocket really well, and he throws a beautiful deep ball. So again, Junior Maritovic, great talent, and I look forward to seeing him at Florida A&M.
A great sign for Florida A&M. The Rattlers sure gained a good quarterback up there in Tallahassee coming up for them this next season. So look forward to seeing Junior and what he does up there for the Rattlers. Last but not least, in this segment right here, Chris Skeldon. You gotta like this kid.
Yeah, I love Chris Skeldon, man. What a hard worker. I've been training him for 5 years now. He just signed with Good Elite Prep in Alabama. He played his senior year at Trinity Prep, but he also has a unique story as he played both quarterback and he was a kicker for all the teams he played for. He started his freshman year out at Lake Nona. I actually got a coach against him while I was the head coach for the freshman team at Oak Ridge. We played each other, so that, he's got a little bit of bragging rights, as Lake Nona did beat us by 1 touchdown on the freshman team. But then going into his sophomore year, decided to transfer over to Harmony High School, where he started on JV, did awesome. He kicked, and he also played quarterback on JV, got moved up to varsity. His junior year stayed at Harmony, split time at quarterback, was a starter at kicker. They are more of a running style of offense. He wanted to throw the ball a lot more, so they decided to move over to Trinity Prep, who is known for having the legendary coach Mike Kruzik, who was a 2-time Super Bowl champion with the Pittsburgh Steelers, has a phenomenal offense. As we all know, if we cover high school sports in Orlando, Trinity Prep, known for having big-time quarterbacks like Luke Holm last year, was the number one passer in his classification. So he decided to take his talents over there and learn under probably one of the most gifted offensive minds in the game of football, in my opinion. He also was coaching at UCF when my dad played there. So we know Mike really well. I'm actually good friends with his son, Garrett. So it was all part of that process and how Chris got to Trinity Prep. He did really well. Split time as well at quarterback, was, kicked as well there. Ended up finishing the season as a starting quarterback at Trinity Prep, did really well, and then earned himself a scholarship at Good Elite Prep in Alabama. So I'm really looking forward to that and seeing how he does. Overall, his evaluation, Chris throws the ball really well and has a strong arm, which is why Cody Morrow's dad actually gave him the nickname The Sting back when Cody and him were training together in their 8th grade year. He was throwing the ball so hard every time, and I'm like, man, we got to work on your touch. But Cody Morrow's dad used to come to my trainings, and he'd be like, man, we're going to call him The Sting, because he would have to catch for me because I was going to catch the ball as I was focusing on the quarterback position. So yeah, him and Chris, Cody and Chris trained with me at the same time, starting in their 8th grade years, and now seeing them both sign in this classification in 2021, or the 2020 class, is pretty special. So I'm very excited about Cody, Chris, and Junior and Tyson as well. Overall, all 4 quarterbacks moving on to the next level and continuing their dream of playing college football, and who knows, hopefully pro as well.
Hey, congratulations to you as well for helping them out and getting them through it. I know the process is tough because recruiting is crazy, but there are places out there for kids, and you find them, and that's a great way to help these kids as far as if they don't know where to go, you kind of steer them in the right direction, and props to you for that as well. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have an interview with your first ever quarterback that you trained here in the Central Florida area, Casey St. John, when we come back here on the TRU Sports Show. We'll be back right after this on the Varsity Sports Network. Welcome back, everybody, here to the TRU Sports Show. Bobby Lattimore, co-host, joined along by the man, Baylen Trujillo. Baylen, let's talk a little bit about the first kid that you ever coached in your quarterback camps. And this young man is a very great kid, good family. Everything about him is just totally, it's just great. It's special for you because this is your first one that you've ever trained. Tell us a little bit about how that process went. Give us a little, background on Casey.
Casey St. John, man, what a special kid. Like you just mentioned, his family is really close with my family. I actually watched the Super Bowl with his family last night. I've done it for the past 3 years. I always go to his house, and so I've been with his kid for the last 6-7 years, and I've seen him grow and develop over time. When I was coaching at Oak Ridge, I used to bring him, when he was in 6th and 7th grade, I used to bring him to the football games and have him and his brother stand on the sideline and just be a part of that. I was hoping that he would eventually make his way to Oak Ridge High School. At that point, and at the time, Oak Ridge was really a powerhouse under Elijah Williams and Tyrone Sapp. So we were winning a lot of football games. So I was getting them excited about, hey, you guys are going to be the next quarterback, or Case, you're going to be the next quarterback here at Oak Ridge High School, and kind of building that up. But they ended up taking his talents to Boone High School to play along with his brother Parker St. John, who was a year older than him. And so, getting to see him develop with his brother at Boone is pretty special. And the fact that I'm now working with the High School Football Scoreboard Show with Heath Ziegler, I'm able to, go to some of the biggest games, and Boone finds themselves in big-time matchups like Dr. Phillips this year and stuff. So I get to go watch Casey play. And, man, what a special talent. The biggest thing that I'm proud of him the most is he will leave Boone High School with a school record. And that's something that is special, that will live on forever. Whether it's broken or not, he'll still be in the conversation as one of the best quarterbacks to ever play at Boone High School, with a lot of tradition and a winning program like Boone. And so I'm very excited for him, because we were texting back and forth before every game, the last 3 to 4 games of his season this past year. And I'm like, this is the game. This is the game. This is the game. And so he ended up breaking the record with 22 passing touchdowns against Vero Beach, which is a powerhouse program, in the playoffs. They ended up losing the game by a heartbreaker by 1 point, a game they were dominating the entire game, but he ended up breaking the record right before halftime. So at least I knew, doing the score tracker, that he actually had the record regardless of the outcome of the game. I wish it would have been a win, but he will leave Boone High School with the all-time passing touchdown record in a single season. As of right now, I don't think it'll ever be broken, in my opinion. I'm not biased or anything, but But yeah, so 7 years of training, Casey St. John. Special kid.
Again, this is Casey St. John from Boone High School. He means a lot to me because, again, as I just mentioned, he is the first quarterback I ever trained back in 2015 when I started my TRU quarterback training. He set records at his high school. I got to see him grow up literally from 9 years old, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I mean, it's been years watching this kid develop, and he started as a sophomore at Boone High School. Actually, one of my claim to fame with him is I played against him when he was a freshman. I was the head coach of freshman football at Oak Ridge High School, and we kind of went after his head a little bit, set the whole house at him every single play. So I guarantee he doesn't forget that game. We got the W, 14-0, and that's actually the last high school football game I ever coached. Casey, talk to the viewers about the first time you ever trained with me back in 2015. Talk about that experience, because, boy, it's one that I will never forget.
The first time I came out, and, like, he was yelling at me and stuff, kind of surprised. I was like a little kid. I didn't really know what I was doing. He made me throw up the first day.
Yeah, throw up his McDonald's, right? I think it was specifically, he just had McDonald's thing. He's going to just go to a little quarterback train. Next thing you know, I'm throwing him in the ringer for a good hour straight, no breaks. What is your most favorite memory playing quarterback?
My most favorite memory is probably against Edgewater. We were down by a touchdown, and they said we need something right here, and I had a rollout and had like a 50-yard touchdown.
Wow. So you guys tied the game at that point? Or?
Yeah, going into halftime.
Wow. So what year was that?
My sophomore year.
Sophomore year, starting on varsity, right?
Yeah.
Against Edgewater, who went back-to-back to state title bursts. Leadership qualities. Like, what is it about the training that you have liked over the years of me training you?
Over the years, like, it has helped me get a lot better at football, but then just like coming out and seeing Baylen like lead the kids around. Like before I started training, I was not really like verbal, but like it helps me be more of a leader on my team and like command my team.
Tell you one thing, he also learned how to celebrate.
Baylen, what a great kid. Casey St. John, I mean, you can't say anything more about him. He's such a wonderful kid, both on and off the field. I mean, you got to be proud of that.
Oh, yeah. And the best thing about it, he still has another year of football. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does at Boone High School and how he ends his career. You know, they were 2 games away from the state championship. And so I believe with Andy Johnson, how he has that program running right now at Boone, they have an opportunity to make some noise. They do lose a lot of key pieces like his brother, Parker, who committed to Air Force, and Sean Bray Jackson, who's committed to FSU, and others. But I'm really curious to see how Boone puts it together and finishes his senior year. And like you just mentioned, man, there's so much good to say about Casey St. John.
Fantastic. We're going to take another break. When we come back, more of the TRU Sports Show right here on the Varsity Sports Network. Welcome back, everybody, here to the TRU Sports Show here on the Varsity Sports Network. Co-host Bobby Lattimore here with Baylen Trujillo. Baylen, what you mentioned it at the first segment. You know, football with the Super Bowl ending kind of transpires an ending to the year. Of course, high school football ended back in December when the state championships were played. But let's look back at this whole year that happened in 2020. I mean, it was crazy to say the least. COVID hitting everybody last spring, shutting everything down. But everything kind of transpired to where we got started in September. We got started late, but you know what? We played it, and that's got to say something about this community. Yeah,
what an amazing opportunity that people were able to put together for the kids here in Central Florida and all across the country, that were able to fight through this pandemic and figure out ways to safely get these kids to continue doing what they love every day in a safe manner that helped those kids, you know, further their future at whatever they wanted to do, whether that was sports, academically, or what have you. Especially in the state of Florida, the FHSAA figured out a way to actually have a high school football season. We saw some major good talent all across the country move to states like Georgia and even Florida to continue their sports and athletic careers because we were giving those kids the opportunity to continue to play. So what a crazy and insanely way we did that, but we pulled it off, and we were able to see some high school football and still see state championships played and almost play a full season, 10-game season. A lot of teams played 9, some played 8, some played 7, but that's still a pretty good amount for the fact that we were considering in August to cancel the whole thing, and kids were going to lose out on the opportunity, especially those seniors out there. So what an amazing job for all the schools to stay connected and do it the right way and have kids, whether they stay in the same classroom they're participating in athletics or having them at home on purpose so that they're not running into situations where they're affecting themselves or affecting others if they cross paths with the COVID virus. So what a crazy event. And guys, we're still going through sports right now. We talk about, on VSN all the time that, there's still other sports going on right now, like basketball, volleyball, soccer, lacrosse, and they're still figuring out ways to make those kids still play every day. So it's a crazy situation, but fortunately for these kids, they're able to still do what they love, and coaches are still able to coach, and then I'm still able to train. So it's been a whirlwind of experiences and trying to be strategic in how we are able to continue to do these things in a safe way. But at the end of the day, they figured it out, and those kids are having fun still, and we're still playing sports. So what more could you ask for?
The Super Bowl happened last night. All the hype, all the build-up didn't quite transpire out like everybody had hoped, but Tampa Bay, the real deal. I mean, the last month of December and January, they were no doubt the best team in the NFL.
No doubt. I remember I was at JoJo Patty's house after a training. I went to his house after I trained him, and we were sitting there with his dad, Ray Patty, and we were watching the Saints-Buccaneers game. It was the opening game for the Bucs, and he, not just he, but the entire team looked very bad. And I'm like, maybe we were just too hype on the Buccaneers train. And sure enough, throughout the season, they just kept putting it on together. And finally, we've seen the best playoff run, I think, in a long time from a team that everybody had written off to becoming now Super Bowl champions. And that's all due to Tom Brady. I mean, last week, he didn't have, or 2 weeks ago, he didn't really have a good performance, right? And they still won the game. And then he comes out here and probably plays one of his best games he's ever played, managing the game, didn't have any turnovers, actually showed a little bit out of character, but it showed his passion because he was talking smack. And I think that really fueled the Buccaneers offense and defense. That defense played lights out last night. To only hold the Chiefs to 9 points with 3 field goals is unbelievable. Granted, the Chiefs did have 2 touchdown drops right in their hands, completely missed on opportunities like that to make it a game. But from start to finish, the Buccaneers definitely dominated. Tom Brady is the GOAT. He has 7 Super Bowl championships. That's more than any franchise in the NFL has. The Steelers had 6, and he surpassed that. I think there was another team that also had 6 as well. And so he has more championships himself than a franchise team that's been around way longer than he was even alive. So the fact that you have a guy that was written off in college, got benched over a freshman going into his senior year, to have the worst combine stats in the history at quarterback, running a 5.3 40, scrawny, could barely lift 175, to get drafted in the later rounds, to now being a 7-time NFL Super Bowl champion, a 5-time Super Bowl MVP award winner. I mean, unbelievable. If I was him, I would retire on a high note and go and just, that's it. I've already done enough, and the story has been written. So, and now go into hopefully coaching. But yeah, I mean, unbelievable. Buccaneers. I'm not really a Buccaneers fan. I was going for the Chiefs, as I mentioned last week in our first show. But you cannot disregard the fact that Tom Brady is the best to ever play the position, a position that obviously I hold dearly to.
Huge for the Buccaneers, as you just mentioned. So Tom Brady, yep, he is the GOAT. As much as I mentioned before, some of us may not like to say that, but you got to give credit where credit's due, and he's the man, no doubt about it. Baylen, I'm good for this week. What do you think?
Yeah, great show. Again, I got to talk about some of the quarterbacks that signed and got to live out their college dream, which, again, that's why I train, to make sure those kids have the best opportunity to further their careers at the game that they love and the game that I cherish the most at the best position. We also talked about, obviously, Tom Brady being the GOAT, winning a Super Bowl, and also Casey St. John. You got to know a little bit about the quarterback that started this whole journey with my B2 QB training. Yeah, I look forward to next week, Bobby. Cannot wait to tackle more quarterbacks here in Orlando, Florida, and talk a little bit more sports, man. Looking forward to it.
That's going to do it for the TRU Sports Show this week. Make sure to tune in next week here on the Varsity Sports Network.